I'm sadhaka. Oh, once again, my practice music is not coming through. Hopefully that's not too loud. Anyway, I'm sadhaka. So I used to call this YouTube channel and anything that I would do for spiritual healing online in a sort of business capacity, New Aeon Awakening. That was always wordy and everything. I mean, I came up with it, I think, in like 2007, 2008, something like that. And I would always abbreviate it to Naona, which I am now only realizing that's not how it should have been pronounced. I was always saying it Naona. It probably should have been Naona because it's Aeon, and I was just putting new, the N from new over here and in front of Aeon, and then A, and that was from Awakening, and so I was just Naona. But yeah, it's come to my attention that it is just confusing, first of all, calling it two different things. Is it New Aeon Awakening or is it Naona? And also, it's just, just people just don't know how to pronounce the things that I put out there anyway. Now, I'd love to announce the creation and, new branding of everything that I'm doing now as an equally difficult to pronounce word. No, not really. Ekstasium, I don't think, is that difficult to pronounce. It is a combination of ekstasis, of course, which is ancient Greek for ecstasy, and ium is a Latin suffix, so I'm quite aware, for all of my language nerds out there, that this comes from two different language sources. The point, of course, is ium is used in alchemical stones. And so what I am working with now, which I'll talk about in a moment, is the alchemy of stones, basically. Not stones themselves, but the philosopher's stone. That's the sort of metaphor that I'm going for. That sounds great. And so Ekstasium made a lot of sense to me, and that's what I'm going with at this point. All right. So my main offers at this point are the Powerstone Energy and Model. This is what I used to call Akadua, and the Luminous Dragon Energy Current. The Power Stone, the Shaman's Power Stone is what I'm calling it now, is not just the energy, the old energy that I've been talking about and working with and giving you healings with for the past almost 20 years at this point. The Power Stone is actually a model of practice as well. So I'm going to go over to some slides and show you some things. This is the Power Stone. Now, AI is very good at some things, but it's not very good at others. And it decided to flip it upside down. So this would actually be starting from the Earth Star chakra all the way down at the bottom, and that is umbral. I used to call it void. But also people, this is the only reason that I've been changing names and terms and things, not just to try to make it more clear, but because people are scared of a void. They think it is, nothingness and, these weird, Cthulhu kind of creatures that come out of the void, this, whatever. So that's not what we're talking about. When I was saying void, I was literally talking about the shadow energy. This is the pure yin aspect of the Power Stone, all right? Now, also, I want to sort of put it out there. One of the reasons that I am calling this a Power Stone is because each of these energies are completely, they're inseparable from the unified energy itself, right? So if you imagine it as a stone, they are different facets of that stone. What is a facet? Well, you take that stone and you slice it here and make it look like a pretty jewel or gem or whatever. That's a facet, right? And so imagine a light shining out from that stone in a different facet. That's what these energies are. They are part of the same unified Power Stone. And yet we work with these different energies for different purposes. in the Powerstone model that I am presenting to people as a whole practice, a shamanic practice, each of those facets unlocks a different part of your being. It purifies, grounds, earth's roots, activates, begins radiating energy through a different aspect of your being, a different aspect of your soul, different aspect of your energy bodies, plural, right? So this is an entire system with which to work for your own personal spiritual transformation and development. That's my main offer right now, all right? There's going to be a free course, which I'm currently working on, so this video is just a preview, and there's going to be a level 1 course. After that, of course, I am going to move into having people work with me personally in a deeper and more personal way. So more one-on-one sessions, more, I don't want to call them activations necessarily, but just these boosts of a certain type of energy that is necessary in order to take that to the next level. So taking it from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, it takes something of a sort of spiritual fire that you have to either find for yourself through dedication, devotion, and consistent practice, or through a jolt of something else. I can provide the something else. That's what I'm saying. So when you are ready to move to the next level in this system, then I can give you that jolt. It has taken me a long time to get to the full understanding of what the levels are, and that they indeed, some people can't get there by themselves, or they're just not practicing it enough, and they don't have a framework, a theory, a foundation to get them there. And so that's what I'm trying to provide. But having said that, I know people who have been working with this energy for a very long time who are still kind of stuck in one place. So maybe that practice isn't enough. I have been blessed and fortunate enough to progress very rapidly in this system. Even though, I have been doing it for almost 20 years at this point. That's not a short amount of time. But it was still like 12 years ago that I got certified as a level 4 practitioner, And at that time, there were only like 1 or 2 level 5s in the entire world, supposedly. And I now believe that I'm way past level 4, and what level 5 means and all of that. At this point, I have to define that for myself. All right, so just moving through the other energies really quickly. I am calling them facets again, and I think that that is a good term to use. I was calling them aspects for a while because that literally means a viewpoint. Aspect, like spectacles, and that's a great word to use, as they are also considered facets. And you're thinking of this 3D model of a power stone, you can also think of them as directions. You can also think of a sort of map like the Bagua, and that is something that I like to use. It is in a circular, model with 1 in the center. So 8 around and 1 in the center, and that is 9, obviously. And so the 9 in the center would essentially represent the unified energy of the Power Stone, and then each direction is another facet or another direction of energy to take it in a different direction. All right, you get it. So then, of course, we have obsidian. And at this point, I have to say that, umbral means the shadow aspect. And so that is an energy that we use in order to get rid of things, in order to release, relent, in order to allow the energy of grief and things to flow out of us. That is what is happening when we are grieving, when we're going through an emotional experience and all of that. Things are moving out of us. you feel this kind of, release of energy, and that's a very yin process. And so the shadow energy, or the umbral energy, as I'm calling it now, is the energy of release and dissolution. It is pure yin. The opposite of that, I'm going to go opposites instead of just going in the sort of chakra sense ladder model. Then we have Atmic, which is the pure yang aspect. This is, of course, from Atman consciousness. So this is the high spiritual aspect, the spiritual self aspect. And so that is essentially the greatest type of body that you can create, the Atmic body, with this energy. Before that, we have Cosmic. I decided to start calling it Cosmic instead of the unnamed. I understand why it was originally called unnamed or whatever, but unnamed is a name in itself, and so it just never really made much sense to me. And I think people like to know what the energy is like, the qualities of the energy. So cosmic energy is, loosely connected to the crown chakra, and that would be the unity of all things, right? So cosmic, you can think of it as cosmos, or you could think of it as universal. When people talk about the universe in that sense, that's usually what they mean. Obsidian is the opposite of cosmic, and that is the most thick, heavy, grounded energy within the Powerstone. At this point, of course, I say that these associations, obsidian, lunar, volcanic, it does not necessarily mean we are working with the energy of obsidian. Obsidian is just a good poetic description, metaphor for the energy within the Power Stone. And since I am using a model of a stone, it makes sense. I used to call Atmic lapis, just in case you've known my models from the past, all right? So then we have lunar, which is magnetic and light and airy and kind of silvery in quality, and just very soothing, very relaxing, also within the yin spectrum, kind of feminine, and it has to do with flow and freedom of movement, So at this point, I also want to point out that the model that I'm going to be working with in the Powerstone course, the level 1 course, and within the free course somewhat, just to give you a taste of the energies and how we're working with them in a shamanic fashion, is groups of 3. So it will be Umbral, Obsidian, and Lunar, the bottom 3, even though, again, this map is upside down. It's the best I could do. And that is the lower world, the shamanic lower world, in which we have past life stuff, earthy past life stuff, ancestral stuff. We have the shadow aspect of our being, so everything that is repressed, or everything that is ignored, suppressed desires and things like that. And also just, in some senses, what seems negative to us about our character are things that just pop up all of a sudden at different times in our lives, different times of the day, where we might have distracting emotions, distracting thoughts, also very connected to the physical body itself. That's the lower world. And so when we're working with the 3 types of energy within the Power Stone, those 3, Umbral, Obsidian, and Lunar, are focused on the lower world. So, moving towards the other ones, we have Atmospheric, of course, which is somewhat related to the third eye. These 3, Atmospheric, Cosmic, and Atmic, are the upper world stuff. So upper world is the divine. So you will also find your ancestors there, but this is not your earthly ancestors that are still, in this sort of astral earth realm, if that makes any sense, that you can call on for, power and protection and all of that. And also the genetic lines within your physical body itself. These are the ones who have passed on and have ascended, that kind of thing. And you will also find the connection at this point to the Akashic records and that kind of upper world stuff. This is where you get inspiration. This is where you get the, the weird things, the intuition coming through, the higher mental realms, and that kind of stuff. And in the middle, we have oceanic, solar, and volcanic. This is the middle world stone of three different types, different facets within the stone. And this is the world of everyday things, people, places, and stuff, and emotions, and dramas and traumas. Traumas are usually in the lower world. Dramas are usually in the middle world. So this is the relationship aspect of our being, right? And this is where you're going to move out into the world and actually have your energy to create things, also the energy to speak and to bring things together that you desire in order to create the world that you want to see out there, right? This is how you get out into the world. When you work with this world, when you work with these three energies within the Powerstone, three facets of the Powerstone, you will find yourself, not just grounded and ready to go out there, feeling protected and stable. That's the lower world stuff. You will find yourself like, yeah, everything out here is okay. It's fine. You ever have somebody like that? Me, as like a hopeless introvert, I've never been that kind of person who just wanted to just go out in the world and, yeah, we can make things happen, man, and talking to the people and doing the stuff and having the meetings and just getting out. I am terrified of everything out there, traditionally. And so to work with this energy, suddenly it's just like you're having, you're keeping your chin up. You're literally like looking straight ahead. You're keeping your eyes up. It's a totally different way of approaching everything and everyone out there in the world when you start to work not just with the middle world itself, but with these facets of energy within the Powerstone. Okay, so that's all of them. I'm not going to get like super in depth. Again, this is just a taste of the offers that I'm doing right now. I'm going to be doing more stuff out there on YouTube, on my Patreon. If you are interested in regular healings with this energy, I will be doing that over there. Those are just a taste. And if you actually want training in this, then level 1 course. That's what it's going to be. All right, so a little bit more. I just wanted to show this image as well, because again, these are not like different, slices of a cake necessarily. This is one unified energy, and I very often use a sort of egg shape or egg model when I'm working with the Powerstone, just because it makes more sense. It just feels right. And again, this energy lives inside of you and is unified in itself. And as you activate it, it tends to move outward, spread outward in a sphere or in an egg shape. This relates directly to the luminous egg or luminous energy field of certain types of shamanism. So what we are trying to create is the Powerstone that is you. We are trying to make your field completely amalgamated to this incredibly powerful energy. They are a combination of cosmic forces. You start to work with the model, you start to see how they are feeling and weight, gravity, magnetism, the feeling of being supported in the oceanic facet, where it's just like everything is huge and it can flow and move, but you are completely supported, and you are supported enough to express yourself clearly and openly, So these are creative forces of the universe within one magical shamanic energy that you can start to work with yourself. So I'm going to talk a little bit briefly about the luminous dragon current of energy that I also work with. And I have done transmissions or attunements, you could think of them activations. This is for people who are more down the Reiki path, who don't necessarily want to work with an entire system in order to go through a huge spiritual transformation. And yet, it does that as well. You know, it's a totally different type of energy. So if you're into Reiki healing, quantum touch, that kind of stuff, and you're more a hands-on type person, if you are an energy healer already and you're looking to move up and away from Reiki because it's just not doing it for you anymore, Luminous Dragon Energy. I have talked about this in a couple videos already, and basically, it is what happened to me after many, many years of Taoist cultivation practices. So I'm branding it as Luminous Dragon Energy because that just sounds cool, and that is the way it came to me, as a luminous dragon, you know. So the dragon, of course, within Taoist thought and schools is a very important symbol or metaphor, and it stands for the perfect harmonization of yin and yang. And so you have the idea of the golden dragon in my tradition. But for whatever reason, I was working with tuning into these different energies, and it was luminous, and it was a luminous dragon that really spoke to me in that moment that I started to channel this energy. And I went from being really, really low and feeling awful the first time I started to channel this energy to feeling like I could take on the freaking world, you know? And so for me, it is a huge step up from something like Reiki, which is Qi, Chi, the middle Dantian, the middle world energy. I was saying before that it is Shun, and it is, but it is also Jing, Qi, and Shun refined. So another concept or metaphor for this would be the golden elixir. I am staying away from that though, because I do not think I am a fully realized being or something like that. When you have achieved the golden elixir, you have no ills, you have no sicknesses, you are, you know, vibrant and glowing, and, you know, you can withstand cold and heat no problem, and you're basically an immortal being, you know. That's not what I'm claiming here. Your energy goes through several processes of refinement through Taoist cultivation practices. What I have been able to transmit is also related to my spiritual tradition, but is also related to my spiritual lineages that have come through me through my shamanic practice as well. And so this is not just internal Taoist cultivation of, Taoist cultivation of internal energies. It is also through my shamanic practice that I was able to tap into this lineage and be able to transmit it to other people. So that is the luminous dragon stuff. I was going to show a little bit. No, well, I have to get rid of these first because I'm a person, and we're going to do that. So these are some quick images. The luminous dragon current. AI didn't get all of the images right, but you can just see it comes with a type of qigong as well to activate the energy, to move the energy around and through your body, and spread it all through that. So the qigong forms are actually in line with dragon forms that I've learned of qigong forms over the years, right? But this is just an extra little thing that I added that comes to me naturally, comes out of my body naturally while working with this energy, while working with this current. So I just wanted to show you that briefly. It's not terribly important. You do not have to work with that qigong form or anything. It is just something that I'm giving people as a little extra, this is something that's unique to this energy modality that you can add to your own practice. Just to tell you the experiences that I've had. One person who's an old spirit brother, not old like, in age, but we've known each other for years and years and years because of the stuff that I've been doing on YouTube for so many years. He just got completely, almost overwhelmed with energy. The first time when I sent him the activation, the transmission for Luminous Dragon Energy, he couldn't sleep that night. He was just way too energized. He told me it was the most intense remote energy healing session he'd ever had. And I could feel it. It was really, really powerful, you know. Another one that I did for somebody recently, we both had goosebumps when I was showing him after I had done the whole thing. He had an emotional release and some tears for a couple minutes afterwards. I hit again the three worlds model. This is how I'm making sure that this energy is clearly sent to you and activated throughout your entire system. And so it is a healing experience, an intense healing experience in order to receive the energy. It's not just, okay, you know, you're activated, now go and spread the word, or that kind of thing. We will go through an entire healing session together if you choose to take this activation from me, all right? And yeah, he had really strong emotional releases and things like that. And afterwards, as I'm showing him the Qigong forms, I was like, I've got goosebumps right now. Like, it's just, like, this energy is coming through me. He's like, so do I, man. I'm like, wow. Okay, so, you know, there's some evidence right there. This is not just placebo stuff. You know, I realize that if you've made it this far throughout this video, I don't have to convince you of that energy is real or that kind of thing. But it always is worth saying, you know, this is not just something that we're convincing ourselves of. This is real stuff. And I have had a lot of success with this current. You will get a certification from me, very pretty iridescent rainbow dragon on one side, and a little scroll work that says, you know, welcome to the Luminous Dragon current, Luminous Dragon school, or something like that. And I'll put your name on it, and then a little space for you to sign as transmitted by Sadhaka. And yeah, so it's lovely. I have had a lot of people come forward at the exact same time that I decided to start working with this energy and turn it into an actual modality, and tell me that I am done with Reiki. Like, I've been doing it for years, and I just feel that there is so much more that I am capable of. One person is actually taking it off of the list, taking it off of the menu completely. Not that Reiki is bad or anything like that, but it's like, thanks. It's like energy healing light, LITE, at this point, and we are absolutely ready, in my opinion, to move on to something bigger and better. So if you're ready to move on to something bigger and better, get in touch with me. Luminous Dragon Energy is the bee's knees, or the dragon's knees, I suppose. Alright, so I will be in touch. There are a lot of new changes. Again, I'm Ekstasium, and it will be ekstasium.com. Right now, it is still naona.com, and I am still trying to flesh out my offers on my website. So if you want to work with me personally, if you want a personal healing session with any of these modalities, then just get in touch with me personally, and we'll work something out.